We have to get to the Rumba Walk.
Okay. Let's do it.
So, to start off, I loved my chat with Lena.
Okay.
Fantastic. She seems a very thoughtful person. So,
Yeah.
whenever I hear intelligent people disagree on something, I'm always super interested to see why and all of that. So not that we may be establishing camps right now. But what should the world know? The Donnie Burns Rumba Walk idea.
Okay.
And by the way, you guys had you both worked with Walter Laird?
Yes, indeed. Yes. We both worked with Walter Laird. And we had lessons with Espen Salberg as well.
You both liked the book and
I also taught Colin and Lena.
Okay.
They had lessons with me.
Okay.
I have utmost respect for both Colin and Lena, and they're very knowledgeable people, wonderful people.
So even better.
No, really.
No, it's like everyone respects each other and all this, and then disagreement.
Yeah, here we go.
Cool. Fireworks.
Maybe that's a healthy thing. I don't know.
Maybe.
And I've certainly got no desire to get into trouble any more than where I live.
And I don't want contentious issues.
Yeah, and I don't want to upset Lena, but I saw the video, which was very well shot, and your questions were very well founded. But I found the answer. And then probably we can agree on most things. Now, 80, 90% of things.
I think you said that. You guys largely agree on things.
Yeah, I would think so, but not on that. But let me tell you why. The swan in the water. The last person who walked on water was Jesus. And I suppose you could ask people who've done it since then, but they've probably drowned. We don't walk on water. We walk on normally maple-sprung wood. Have you ever seen a swan walk on land? So the idea of basing your principle on the biomechanics of somebody in liquid versus on solid ground in gravity is essentially flawed before you start. In Walter Laird, I always had this argument with Wally, actually.
I'm not sure. I think she said that's just like a mental image.
Yeah, it's a mental image, but still, a mental image. Get the same swan and put that swan on a wooden floor and see how good it looks.
Got it.
No, I had this conversation with Wally, actually, when Wally was alive, obviously.
For people who don't know,
Walter Laird,
he
wrote the book. He wrote the IDTA book. It was all of our Bible that we were reared on, if you like. And interestingly enough, Ikaika, Walter Laird says, when a body steps backwards, Rumba Walk, there is an inherent amount of turn. An inherent amount of turn. Well, the exact verbiage. He then tried to say at one point that when the same foot and leg walked forward, they were straight or parallel. I never accepted that. I can't accept that. Why? Because it's the same leg. But if I point north, it should be the same as when I point south or west or east. Excuse me. Also, you have to define and clarify, delineate between the foot, the leg, and the thigh and hip. Why? Many people, when the foot is straight, the thigh is slightly turned in.
Many people,
yeah. Generally, if there's a slight turn out, the thigh is about straight. So let's talk percentages. And maybe, if we don't get sued for this, maybe we could talk about Michael Jackson's nose.
Sure.
Off the wall.
Very expensive.
Yes, yeah. Off the wall.
His album in the 70s, right?
Yes, off the wall. Certain nose. Surgery, less of a nose. Surgery, less of a nose. More surgery, Maybe some people said it looked like Diana Ross's nose by that time.
Mm.
More surgery, ended up nearly no nose.
Mm.
That tells us that the percentages in nature of what is perceived as beauty are very finely balanced.
Sorry, from Michael Jackson's nose to
turn out. Okay.
I mean, to the percentages of. I'm making the connection. Yeah.
Okay. So if I turn my leg slightly in, the immediate perception is ugliness.
Okay.
If I have my foot and I talk about feet,
mm-hmm.
straight,
mm-hmm.
it's straight. If I slightly turn it out, I don't think people care.
Mm.
If it gets too turned out, it becomes Charlie Chaplin, Keystone Cops, New York Cop, whatever you want to call it. Too much.
Okay.
Right? So we're talking about fine percentages in nature.
I see.
When a cheetah is chasing an antelope through the bush, it runs at about 125 miles an hour.
60.
More.
So more than 60. A cheetah.
Yeah, 160. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So he's not thinking, is my back leg straight? Is my back leg straight? Is my back... He's thinking, that's my dinner. And if I don't get my dinner, I don't live tomorrow.
Mm.
So what does he do? He runs in the most efficient way possible. Okay? If you slow that video down, it is beautiful.
Mm.
It's beautiful because it's smooth, it's balanced, and there is a symmetry of motion about it.
Mm.
There is a connection in real life between efficiency and beauty. The most beautiful way to move is the most efficient way.
Well, it sounds like exactly what Lena was saying
Right.
in that sense.
So, I do not believe for a second that there's no turnout. I don't believe there's excessive turnout. I believe there's an inherent amount of turnout naturally occurring.
What you were saying about the percentages and that small percentages eventually add up to a noticeable amount that's too much.
Right. And if you get the percentages wrong, it's no longer beautiful. It becomes ugly incredibly quickly.
Okay.
And I don't believe that anybody should be comparing it with walking on water as an analogy, because nobody walks on water except Jesus.
So from what seems like too much for you? 45?
Yeah, too much.
Okay.
Naturally occurring, inherent. When you walk forward, I mean, if you walk from here to the bathroom, if you walk to get a Diet Coke, you're not consciously thinking, I hope my foot's straight.
No, but not everyone walks as well and as efficiently as everyone else.
And you talk about ballroom and you talk about ducks or whatever. In ballroom, they don't see the feet. They don't see the women's feet half the time.
Half the time, yeah.
In Latin, the leg and the foot are naked. It's like an X-ray. So the articulation and the definition and the angle and the balance comes from efficiency.
So you're looking for a natural, efficient, smooth movement.
And all this thing about the front foot is absolutely parallel and the back foot starts to turn out. That feels like you're on a tightrope. And yet you're trying to get grounded. You're trying to get Cuban motion. You're trying to melt from muscle into bone. So I completely disagree.